So we're here, man. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the top 100 cards in NBA 2K25 My Team. This is gonna be the official list. This is gonna be a really, really long video, man. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel now and leave a like on the video for this, man. I think that you guys are going to love this list. Took a lot of time putting this together. And yeah, man, we'll just see what you guys think. But this is the top 100 cards in NBA 2K25 My Team. We have got 6 honorable mentions to start things off. The first honorable mention is going to be Dark Matter Rick Barry. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. This card is so outdated. Well, this card can still cook a little bit on the offensive end. There's no doubt about that, man. He's 6'7", so a little bit short. There is some taller point guards out there these days, man. But this card can cook on the offensive end. Now, defensively, going to be a little bit of a liability, but this card can definitely move. There's really not a whole lot of flaws with this card. So I think he still at least deserves an honorable mention on the top 100 list, man. I'm not going to bid on that one. We're going to hold off on that for now. So the next honorable mention, going to kind of serve a similar role to the last card, is going to be Dark Matter Franz Wagner. Now this card can still cook a little bit as well. If you have this card, if you got him from, I think he was in one of the exchanges, he can still play pretty decently at the shooting guard position, man. And he is a very, very similar card to Rick Barry. They're kind of going to give you the same thing. Going to be a little bit of a liability defensively, but they're going to be able to cook with the ball in their hands a little bit, and they both have pretty good releases, man. So I think both these cards definitely deserve an honorable mention. You can kind of group them together. The next one's going to be 100 overall. The next honorable mention, we got 100 overall Anthony Davis. This card, people love to really hate on this card. I thought this card was actually going to make the list. He only made an honorable mention, but hopefully the picture will load here. Yeah, there we go. So 100 overall Pantheon Anthony Davis. Relief leaves a little bit to be desired. And, he can get plucked a little bit with the ball in his hands unless you badge him up and stuff. But other than that, I really don't see any flaws with this card. I mean, he's a little bit small for the power forward center. Obviously, his GO card is going to be on the top 100, can play the small forward. That's much, much better. But this card in a park setting still, I really don't know why you'd use him at this point in the year. But if you absolutely have to use him, he can still hold it down. He can rim run well. He can defend really, really well. And yeah, I think this card still deserves a mention here, this Pantheon Anthony Davis. So people love to say that this card sucks. He really doesn't. He's still usable. Then we have 100 overall Paulo Banchero is going to be the next card as an honorable mention. So this is another one that was in the exchange. If you're still using this card, you're still all right, man. I mean, this card is a little bit mid. I'm not going to lie to you on that. Just kind of slightly above average at everything, I say, is kind of what this card gives you, man. 6'10", though, that's plenty tall enough at the small forward position. He can definitely cook a little bit. He's a pretty good rim running card. He can dunk over people. Not really absolutely elite at anything, but above average at pretty much everything. You're still all right if you're using this card at your small forward spot, man. So had to bring him up. And then we have another one, 100 overall, Zach Randolph. This card is kind of a little bit similar to AD. He is a little bit smaller. So that is he's a little bit different, and I'll explain why. He's a little bit smaller than Anthony Davis at 6'9", but he can play the small forward, so that gives him a little bit of an advantage. He can dribble the ball pretty well. He doesn't really have the best release, though, so creating really isn't going to be ideal for him. But on the defensive end, he's going to really, really hold it down at the small forward position. Another card that's kind of just slightly above average at everything. But he does have an undesirable release. I understand that. Got a lefty release that is kind of a little bit broke at some points. But, I don't think this card's too bad. So if you're still using him, don't think that you're in really too rough of a place. And then our last honorable mention before we get into the official list, man, is going to be 100 overall Danny Manning. Now, this card's got a little bit of a weird release. At the small forward position, he's 6'10", so good height. He can create a little bit with the ball in his hands. Kind of a weird player build, too, at 6'10". He actually kind of plays a little bit smaller than that. but he's going to be able to create decently. He's got a really, really strange release that you have to get used to. It's very, very odd. Going to be able to defend, at more than an average level, I would say. So again, this card kind of mid, but he's going to give you everything that you need, man. So I feel like, if you're still using him, he's going to be okay. You can hold it down. He's not going to be your best player. If he is your best player, you need to go out and get some other cards. But if this is, say like your worst player and you're starting 5, I think that you're okay. Like this card can still get the job done. So that is our last honorable mention. Now we get into the official list. Number 100 in the top 100 best cards is going to be Dark Matter LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this card, we're not going to bid on him, is because for height, man. 6'11" at the shooting guard position. His release is going to be a little bit slow. But that's really, he's not really going to handle the ball for you. You could group Karl Malone in with this card as well that came out in the same drop. I guess I could have put Karl Malone in the honorable mentions as well. But the height that he gives you at the shooting guard position, LaMarcus Aldridge, 6'11", that is the reason that he is on this list, man. And he's still going to be a really, really good defender as well. Not really going to be able to create with him super well. He's going to be able to hit, catch, and shoot, though, if he's wide open. There's no doubt about that. I think that this card still belongs on the list because he's kind of a niche card at 6'11" at the shooting guard position. He comes in at number 100. Coming in at number 99, we have a card that is a little bit different. I think that this card is very similar to a couple of the honorable mentions, but he is just slightly better. And that is going to be Dark Matter Vladrad. Now, he kind of serves a similar role to Dark Matter Rick Barry, Dark Matter Franz Wagner. He's going to be kind of like a 3-hunting sort of card. His player build on Vladrad is not very good. He's got a super skinny player build. He plays smaller than 6'10", but still 6'10" at the small forward. And he's kind of a dribble head card at the small forward position, man. If you want someone at the small forward position that you can 3-hunt with, kind of the same thing as with Wagner and Rick Barry, but I just think, like I said, he's a slight upgrade over those cards. So that's why he comes in at the number 99 spot. Going to hurt you a little bit on the defensive end just because of that really, really skinny player build. But other than that, man, this card, this card's going to just get absolutely bullied by like a GOAT Anthony Davis or something like that at the small forward. But still think with how good that card is offensively, Dark Matter Vladrad, that he does belong on the list. Let's see who we got next here. Next, we're going to actually have to go into the collections for this one, man. A card that is absolutely just timeless. We have this 100 overall Tim Duncan, man. This card can definitely still play. He is going to be able to create a little bit for you. He still has a really good release. Really, the only flaw with this card is player build at the power forward and center position. He's only 6'11". He plays, honestly, probably even a little bit smaller than 6'11", too, a little bit skinny. But other than that, man, this card is really going to give you everything that you need. He's a significant downgrade from the GOAT Tim Duncan, and he also can't play the small forward, which hurts him, but this card is still more than usable. And if you're still running this Timmy D Season 6 level 40 reward, you're all right, man. This card can still hoop for you. So he comes in at the number 98 spot. Coming in at the number 97 spot, we have our first Invincible card of the list, and this is going to be Invincible Kyle Kuzma. Now, this card is almost just pretty much the definition of mid. He's only 6'9". He cannot play the shooting guard, which absolutely hurts his value. If he could play the shooting guard, he'd be a lot higher. He's an invincible card, though. So, he's going to have perfect stats. Badge-wise, he's going to be fine because he's an invincible card. And you can definitely cook with this card. But the fact that he's only 6'9", his release is really not as good as a lot of other invincibles. There's a lot of small forward, power forward invincibles coming up on the list that are just so much better than this card, man. So I think that this is the appropriate place for Invincible Kyle Kuzma. But if you're a huge Kyle Kuzma fan, you want to run him, he's more than runnable. He is a top 100 card, so I wouldn't blame you for using him. And this is another card that kind of suffers the same fate as a lot of these cards that we have gone over so far, and that is 100 overall Kwame Brown. A card that is just very, very undersized for the power forward center. He's 6'11". Again, to me, he plays smaller than that. And I just think this card can pretty much give you, he's actually like a really underrated card. People like to say that this card sucks. He does not. He's got a good release. He's a little bit slow. His speed with ball, I think, is a little bit low or something because he just doesn't really feel very fast with the ball in his hands. But that's really the only flaw that I see with this card. I mean, this card is going to defend at a high level. This card is maybe not going to be able to create that well, but if you give this card even an inch of space, man, he's got a really quick, really good release. He's going to be able to green it on people, man. So I think that this 100 overall Kwame Brown, this is an appropriate spot for him at number 96. And we are going to go over at the number 95 spot to another 100 overall. This is going to be 100 overall Josh Smith. And this card is still, I mean, if you got this card from like the 100 overall pack when they had those in the market and stuff, when he was like one of the 10 cards available or whatever, this card is still runnable as well. I mean, 6'9" at the small forward. He actually has a pretty big player build though. Like I would say, he even plays a little bit bigger than 6'9". Definitely like Vladrad's 6'10", but this card just a way better player build and probably seems taller when they're next to each other. So yeah, I mean, this card's going to give you a pretty good lefty release. It's going to be really good on the defensive end with that bigger player build. Not going to be able to cook as much with the ball in his hands as a card like Vladrad, but I think that other than that, he's going to give you everything, you know, kind of had a better level than that Dark Matter Vladrad. So I think that this is a good spot for Josh Smith. A little bit less, going to be a little bit not quite as good as Vladrad on the offensive end, but he's going to be much better on the defensive end. So I think that this is an appropriate spot for 100 overall Josh Smith. Again, he comes in at the number 95 spot. And now we have another invincible. This is going to be invincible James Worthy. I don't know what they did to James Worthy, but the 100 overall and this card are just so mid, man. Now this card, I would take this card over Kyle Kuzma simply for player build reasons. I feel like his player build's a little bit better. Still not necessarily like the most desirable release in the world though, man. 6'9" at the small forward, just like Kuzma, but his player build is better. And to me, you know, he's going to give you everything that you need because he's an invincible card. But I just think that there are way, way, way better options at the invincible tier as well as at that power forward, small forward position, man. So that's why James Worthy comes in here. James Worthy used to be, you know, in like 2K20 days and stuff, used to be, you know, one of the best cards in the game. Those days are no more. His 100 overall was very, very mid as well. And then going into the number 93 spot, this might be a little bit of a surprise. We got a Dark Matter here. We got a Dark Matter Alexei Pokachevsky. Now, this card is 7 foot at the small forward position. And kind of actually, he's not going to be able to dribble the ball as well as Vladrad, but he's got a really, really good release like Vladrad does, and then he's 7 foot. Skinny player build though, so that is a flaw with Poku, but if you're looking at strictly, you know, height at the small forward position, and then unlike Aldridge is shooting guard, different type of card, but unlike Aldridge, he's got a really good release as well. So I think that this card, he kind of gets a little bit underrated because he's a Dark Matter, doesn't really get talked about too much. This Pokachevsky, though, I think he belongs in the top 100 cards. I think that he belongs at the number 93 spot. Now going to the number 92 spot, one of the most overrated cards in the entire game, we have got 100 overall Glenn Rice. I just don't think this card is all that he's cracked up to be. Even when he came out, like he's got, you know, he's a little bit of a cheese ball, you know, creating with the ball in his hands, but 6'8", the shooting guard, decent height. But I just think that there are way better options. And this card, when he came out, was getting hyped up as like the best card in the game. I mean, he's going to be able to cook for you on the offensive end. There's no doubt about that. He's going to get shredded a little bit on the defensive end, though. And I just don't really, he's not as cheesy either as Glenn Rice is from the past. I mean, that base 98 Glenn Rice, he's not even close to as good as that from past years. And I just don't really see it with this card. Is he very good? Yes. Is he as good as people say he is? No. So that is 100 overall Glenn Rice at the 92 spot. Now, at the number 91 spot, we have another 100 overall. This is going to be 100 overall Joakim Noah. Now, another card that is very undersized for the center and power forward position. 6'11", plays smaller than that. But this card moves well. This card's got a good release. He's actually kind of got a skinnier player build, though, which has not been the case for Joakim in the past. I don't know if his player build changed. It kind of seems like it did, maybe just a little bit. But this card, if you got him, man, from a free pack or something like that, this card is more than runnable. I mean, again, going to be a little bit undersized for the power forward, but in a park setting, this card can cook, man. This card can defend well. This card can actually create a little bit, and this card has got a buttery smooth release. So I think this card gets a little bit underrated. I think that he definitely belongs on the list. And now coming in at the number 90 spot, we have another card that is very good, just undersized. I feel like that's kind of the theme of the bottom of this list here. But we have Domantas Sabonis 100 overall. Now, this card is going to be able to pretty much, very comparable card to Joakim Noah, actually. Undersized for the power forward center, but he's got a buttery smooth release. He's going to be able to, create a little bit, not create like insanely well or anything. But I just think, him and Joakim Noah, they kind of belong right next to each other. Very, very similar cards. Going to be able to hold it down defensively as well, although he is undersized. And then coming in at the number 89 spot, this is a card that if you just need pure catch and shoot, if you need a card that can just shoot in general, this is the card that you need to be seeking out, man. This Dark Matter Omri Caspi. When you describe a card as wet, a wet jumper, this is what you're looking at, man. I mean, this is the epitome of a wet jumper. Just an absolutely elite shooter, one of the best shooters in the entire game is this Dark Matter Omri Caspi. Now, the issue is he's not going to really give you a whole lot else. He is 6'9" at the shooting guard position, which is pretty good height, but again, not necessarily the greatest player build in the world. He's kind of going to get hurt on the defensive end a little bit, but if you need a card that can put the ball in the basket, man, Dark Matter Omri Caspi can definitely do that. So he comes in at the number 89 spot, and right above him, we got a pretty old card, but a card that can definitely still run, in my opinion. We have Dark Matter. No, sorry, not Dark Matter. We have 100 overall, Michael Jordan from the Inevitable set. Now, this card, some people actually prefer this card to the Invincible and GOAT Michael Jordans. I do not. If you do not know, the Invincible and GOAT Michael Jordans are pretty much the same exact card. The 100 overall, some people prefer the release of the 100 overall. I'm not one of those people, but this 100 overall still runs for some people, man. He is, slightly undersized at the point guard at 6'6", but he gets very good animations on the defensive end, and he gets very good animations as far as when he's rim running. And this card can create. He can pretty much do everything, man. And I just prefer the GOAT and Invincibles. I think that they give you more, so that's why they are higher on the list. But this Inevitable Michael Jordan at the number 88 spot, he can still play. So he definitely belongs on the list. Now, number 87, we have got Dark Matter, Mo Bamba. Now, this card is, bigs are probably kind of the hardest cards to obtain as far as, centers, power forwards. If you need like an ultra budget big, if you've already got Joel Embiid, you can't really find any other bigs that can run for you. This is a card that you can go ahead and pick up. He's 7 foot. All of his animations are perfect. He's got a skinny player build. That's really the only flaw that I see with this card, though, because he's got very good dribble sigs. He's got a very good release. Really, the only flaw is player build with this card. Other than that, I just don't think that this card can do any wrong. This is a really, really good card, this 99 overall Dark Matter Mo Bamba. So he comes in on the list at the number 87 spot, man. And coming in at number 86, we have another big. This is going to be 100 overall Greg Oden, man. Now, this card, when I did use him, or when I have used him, I've been a little bit underwhelmed. He kind of suffers the same fate as the 100 overall Kwame Brown, where he is just a little bit slow as far as lateral quickness goes and as far as speed with ball. Now, you can fix that with a shoe, but this card's got a really big player build at 7 foot. Kind of a similar player build, I would say, to like Joel Embiid. They have a similar player build. Not even going to be nearly as good as Joel Embiid, but he is a serviceable big man. If you have him, he's going to get boards. He's going to be able to defend. I don't know about at the center position, but he can definitely play at the power forward position. He's got a pretty decent release. I don't think his release is as good as Kwame Brown from the same set, but I think his player build And just, yeah, pretty much just his player build is going to put him above Kwame Brown on the list, man. So player build and size are just so important. I really can't, reiterate that enough. We have another dark matter coming in at number 85. We have a just absolute budget beast, and that is going to be Matt Harpring, man. Matt Harpring, dark matter. He can pretty much do everything that you need, man. I mean, he's going to be able to create. He's going to be able to defend pretty well. He's 6'7" at the shooting guard, a little bit, of a smaller player build, but hey, this card, I mean, offensively, he is going to be pretty much everything that you can ask for. Buttery, smooth release. He's going to be able to defend pretty well. I don't really see any flaws with this card at all, and I think that he definitely belongs on the list. This card, when he first came out, was such a budget beast, it's not even funny. Still making the top 100 list. Number 84, we have, this might, turn some heads a little bit, but I think that this card, especially because he was free and everything, I think that this card gets overrated a little bit. Klay Thompson. Now, I know that he was free, so everybody has him. He kind of gets gassed up a little bit. I just am not really a fan of this card's player build. 6'6" at the point guard. I'm taking, GOAT and Invincible Jordan over this card for sure, who's also 6'6", and that just is for player build's sake. I mean, his release is good. He's going to be able to create pretty well, but he's just not as good as you would wish for him to be on the defensive end. The defensive animations that he gets just really aren't that great. I don't know. I think that this card gets overhyped a little bit, so that's why he is coming in at this spot in the list. But he is still, if you got him for free and he is your point guard, I can't reiterate this enough, man. He is fine to run at the point guard position. He's going to be able to cook. I mean, all the cards at this stage in the year, all these cards in the top 100 can cook. There's no doubt about that. And then coming in at number 3, a similar card to Vlad Rad, Franz Wagner, but just another upgrade yet again, and that is going to be Dark Matter Michael Beasley. Kind of gives you the same thing. Just going to be an absolutely elite card on the offensive end. It'd be nice if this picture would load in here. I think it's loading. I don't know what's going on with the internet right now, man, but there we go. There's Dark Matter Michael Beasley. He's kind of going to just do the same thing. He's a dribble head card. He's going to be able to create just insanely well. He's got a really good fade, really good leaner. As far as offensively, you can't really make a card much better than this. Now, he's going to struggle with his player build on the defensive end, but I mean, this card, I've been absolutely torched by this card, and I think that everybody else has as well. This card came out a long time ago, but he still belongs on this list, man. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And coming in at number 2, we have Invincible Paul Millsap. Now, this card is a card that kind of divides opinions. Some people would have him higher, and some people probably wouldn't even have him on their list at all. But this Invincible Paul Millsap, man, he's 6'8" at the shooting guard position. He's going to give you really, really, really good defense at the shooting guard position. Just the defensive animations he gets and everything are really, really good. He's got a pretty decent release, and I just think that he is a more than solid card. He's another card that's going to do everything slightly above average, not going to be super elite at anything, maybe defensively. I mean, this is a really good defensive card, but yeah, I think that this Paul Millsap belongs at the number 82 spot, man. He's going to kind of give you everything that you need at that shooting guard position. And then this is a card that gets underrated coming up next. We have Invincible, I think I'm spelling his name wrong. I always forget how to spell this person's name. It is going to be Invincible Jason Tatum. Now, this is the current Ascension reward. If you get him out of Ascension, man, please just go ahead and run this card. He is, the reason that he gets shafted on so hard, I think, is because he's too small for the small forward or the power forward position. But this card in a park setting, I mean, people seem to like really hate on his release, but I think his release is super good, man. I don't know why, if I'm in the minority with that, but I just don't really see any flaws with this card. And I think his release is really hard to contest. I think his release is really good. He's really good with the ball in his hands. He's going to be fine as far as, defending the other team's guard and everything. He's going to be able to lock him down. I don't really see many flaws with this card, man. And it was kind of the same with the 100 overall and the Dark Matter for their time. I don't know why this card gets shafted on so hard, but I'm a big fan of Invincible Jason Tatum, and I think that he gets pretty underrated. And then coming in at number 80, we have another very, very old card. This is going to be Dark Matter Dikembe Mutombo, man. If you badge this card up, though, this card is still more than runnable. Is he going to be as good as some of the other older bigs that we are going to mention later in the video? No. Just because he is 7'2", which, I mean, that is insanely tall. But there's just some other older cards that are taller that still run, but we'll get into all that later. But Dikembe Mutombo at 7'2", man, if you got him for free, I know he was in the exchange at one point. This card is still more than runnable. He's still going to hold it down on the defensive end. He's still going to get some really good dunk animations when he's rim running and everything. Not really the craziest release in the world, but if you need like a big that's going to just hold it down on the defensive end, if that's all that you need your big to do, this card is still more than runnable. I mean, he still came out a long time ago, but still really, really good, and he comes in at the number 80 spot, man. Coming in at the number 75 spot, or 79 spot, excuse me. We have the 100 overall Tracy McGrady. Now, people really love to say that this card is outdated, but he's really not. I mean, he's going to give you everything that the Invincible T-Mac gives you, but he's just got his releases. I think it's the same release, but it's just not on the same speed. It's slower, which, I mean, not necessarily ideal, but this card, other than that, man, he's going to pretty much give you, as far as, you know, if we're not talking about like badges and everything, because obviously the Invincible's got way better badges and all that. But this card, if you have like a badged up 100 overall T-Mac, this card is still one of the better shooting guards in the game, man. Still going to be so elite on that offensive end, and his wingspan, man. His wingspan is so good on the defensive end. He can play lanes well. I just don't know why people like to hate on this card. People like to say that this card is outdated, not usable anymore. I really don't think that can be further from the truth, man. That 100 overall T-Mac is an elite card in this game. And coming in at number 78, we have a card that kind of divides opinions as well. And you might know where I'm going with this, man. We have the Invincible Paul George, Season 7, Level 40 reward. And he's just kind of a card. The card that I'm going to mention right after this, he's a very similar card to that card. He's going to give you very good defense. He's going to give you pretty good rim running. He's good with the ball in his hands, but it's just that release, man. I don't know what they did with Paul George's release this year, but his release is not it. I mean, that's really the only flaw that this card has, but his release is just so bad that I just have to put him this low. I know that he's still a runnable card. He's going to do everything else at an elite level, but I just don't really think that he is up to too much because of that release. And coming in next, a card that is so similar and a card that gets gassed up beyond belief is Invincible Rudy Gay. I mean, I just don't see why people think that this is, you know, a top 25 card in the game or even a top 50 card in the game. Because him and Paul George are so similar. I mean, they're almost like the same card. They give you everything at an absolutely top tier level besides their release. Both of the releases on these two cards are just horrible. They just don't feel good. They're not smooth. Just not a fan of the release on Invincible Rudy Gay. So he comes in at number 77. And then coming in at number 76, this is a card that also gets overrated a little bit in my humble opinion, man. And that is going to be 100 overall Jimmy Butler. Not a fan of the release on this card either. It's just not my favorite release in the world. This card's going to be good rim running. He's kind of, you know, at 6'7", he actually plays a little bit smaller than that. He is going to be more than fine at the point guard position, though. I mean, every card on this list that's being mentioned, if you're running him, you know, you're fine. But I'm just not really the biggest fan of the release on this Jimmy Butler card. He's going to be good with the ball in his hands. Really good rim running card at the point guard position. He's going to hold it down on the defensive end, but just a little bit smaller than I would like. Plus, he also just doesn't have a very good release. So that's why he comes in at the number 76 spot, that was, I believe. And coming in at the number 75 spot, yet another overrated card, and it's pretty much for the same reason, 100 overall Yi Jianlian. Now, this card has kind of one of those releases like a 100 overall Shaq, an Invincible Shaq, where you can be green with it if you get used to it. But I don't know, this card was getting hyped up beyond belief when he came out, kind of a Glenn Rice situation, just because of how good he's been in the past. There's a little bit of bias with that whole deal. But this card is just really, I mean, he's number 75 on the top 100 list. He's a good card, but I just think he's a little bit overrated, man. He's going to give you really good height at the small forward position at 7 feet, but that release just isn't what it could be. So that's why he is where he is, man. But he's going to be able to handle the ball well. He's going to be really good on the defensive end. So, I mean, a more than usable card. And then we have another card, Juwan Howard, 100 overall, is coming in at the number 74 spot. This card is pretty much going to give you everything that you need at the small forward position. He's only 6'9", but, I mean, he's got a pretty good release. He can handle the ball better than you would expect. He can defend pretty well. I would actually say this card plays a little bit bigger than 6'9". If you're running this card at the small forward, I just don't really see any issue with that, man. I think that this is a more than solid card in this game. So that's why Juwan Howard's at the number 74 spot. And then in at the number 73 spot, a card, maybe one of the more underrated cards in the game at this point. Nobody talks about this card anymore. But this 100 overall Willis Reed, he's too small for a 5-on-5 setting at the power forward or center position. But this card in a park setting, with how good his lefty release is, man, this card can still cook. Now, I just don't really see why this card's never really talked about anymore, because he can cook on the offense and he can cook with the ball in his hands. He's pretty good defensively, as long as you're not going against a giant. And I just think that this card gives you everything at an absolutely elite level, man. So I actually think, and some people were saying this at the time that these cards came out too, both these cards, Invincible Paul George and 100 overall Willis Reed, dropped at the beginning of Season 7 in the, I'm not going to call it a battle pass. Some people call it that, in the season pass. There you go. And a lot of people at the time said this card is better than Paul George, and I think that reigns true. I think that this card is better than Invincible Paul George. So he comes in at the number 73 spot, man. And then coming in at the number 72 spot, we have a card that is also, really held up over time. And that is going to be 100 overall Shaquille O'Neal. And I've talked about it before with Shaq. His release is horrendous. He's really not even playable at the center position anymore at only 7'1" when you get guys like Yao and Wemby. But for some reason, the rim running animations that Shaq gets, this goes for his 100 overall, this goes for an Invincible, this goes for his GOAT card as well. The rim running animations that these Shaq cards get, they can just dunk over. I've seen them dunk over Wemby, Yao. It's just insane, the finishing ability of these cards, man. I don't know what it is with Shaq. I don't know what they did with him this year, but he can just dunk on absolutely everybody. So that is one thing that kind of puts Shaq above a little bit. His release, especially on this 100 overall, man, his release is horrible. Now, you can still, if you can green with him, you can still hit, man. He's got a pretty good, decent 3-point rating. But, yeah, an interesting card here. If you get used to his release, he's going to be very, very good for you because of his rim running ability, his giant player build. He can still more than hold it down at the power forward position. So if you got 100 overall Shaq, he can still absolutely run for you. Now, this is a card that kind of gets grouped with him, and I think rightfully so, a very, very different card, but a card that, they came out around the same time. They always kind of get grouped together. We've got 100 overall Kristaps. A very, very different card. He's not going to be a bruiser like Shaq. He's not going to be, insane, as far as rim running goes or anything, but he's got a lanky player build. He's going to be fine on the defensive end. And catch and shoot release wise, I mean, this card is absolutely elite. Be nice if his picture would load here. Come on, 2K. Let's see this 100 overall Kristaps, man. But anyway, this card will give you everything that you need at the power forward position. I mean, he's a much different card than Shaq. It kind of just depends on personal preference, but I think as far as the level of the cards overall, I think that the level on these cards is very, very similar. So, yeah, going to be a good catch and shoot card, going to be good on the defensive end. Really gives you kind of just what you need at the power forward position. He comes in at number 71. I feel like I kind of rambled about him for a little bit too long, so my bad there. But now we go to another Invincible card. At number 70, we got Invincible Draymond Green. Now, there's a card coming up that I think is just a better version of this card. But this card, not the most desirable release in the world for an Invincible card, but he's going to be really good on the defensive end. Even though he's only 6'6", I'd say that he plays a little bit bigger than that. Like if you put him and Invincible Michael Jordan next to each other, Draymond's just way bigger, even though they're both 6'6". Not going to be as good on the offensive end as a Jordan card, but on the defensive end, going to be just as good, if not better. This card is more than runnable. If you have Invincible Draymond, this card's going to hold it down for you at the point guard position. Really nothing wrong with the card besides maybe, you know, not the best release in the world. And then coming in at number 69, a card that suffers a similar fate to Shaq, that is going to be 100 overall Giannis. The Invincible and GOAT Giannis are significantly better than the 100 overall Giannis, and it's similar with this card compared to the 100 overall Shaq. Everything is going to be done at an absolutely elite level, almost, you know, as good as you can get besides release, man. The release on this card is so bad. I cannot, you know, state that enough, man. The release on this card is just horrendous. But other than that, this card is going to give you everything at an absolutely elite level. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, 100 overall, comes in at the number 69 spot. And coming in at the number 68 spot, a little bit of an underrated card as well, man. This is a card that gets shafted on. I think it's because of how bad his 100 overall was. But this Invincible Patrick Ewing is more than runnable in the game, man. If you got this card, this was another card that was in the exchange. If you're still running this card can hold it down at the power forward position. This card is good in a park setting. This card's got a good release. He's actually, you know, can handle the ball a little bit. There's really nothing wrong with this card. And I think that he gets a little bit underrated sometimes. I think that this card, I mean, does everything at a more than fine level. He can absolutely just hold it down, man. So Invincible Patrick Ewing, he comes in at the number 68 spot. Nothing wrong with the card at all. And coming in at the number 67 spot, we have Invincible Shawn Kemp. Kind of a similar card, honestly. Shawn Kemp's release, you know, leaves a little bit to be desired. But he can play the small forward position, which gives him a little bit of an advantage over a card like Patrick Ewing. Going to give you really good height at the small forward position. Going to be a really good defender at the small forward position at 6'10". Got a really good player build. Like in comparison to a card like Vladrad, who's also 6'10", Shawn Kemp standing next to him is going to be way bigger. So that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles with Shawn Kemp. He's not going to be as good on offense, but he's still serviceable on offense. He's an invincible card, so he's not going to get, you know, like plucked or anything like that. He's going to be able to handle the ball really well. Got a decent catch and shoot release, and he's going to be able to defend at a high level. And he's a good rim running card as well. So I think Shawn Kemp does leave a little bit to be desired. He's kind of a card that seems like he should be better than he is, you know, on paper, but he comes in. I think the 67 spot is appropriate for Invincible Shawn Kemp. At number 66, one of the most overrated cards in the entire game, Invincible LaMelo Ball. A lot of people would probably have this card in their top 25. I just have my question with Invincible LaMelo Ball, man, is who is this card defending? That I think is the main question with Invincible LaMelo Ball. He's going to be able to cook on the offensive end, but I just don't really know what you're doing with this card on the defensive end. He's got a skinny player build. He's 6'7", sure, but his player build is just not good on the defensive end. He just gets absolutely ran through and shot over, man. I just think he's such a liability on the defensive end, man. He's similar to another card coming up where he gets overrated because of how good he is offensively, but he's just very bad on the defensive end. So that's why he comes in at the number 66 spot, man. That is Invincible LaMelo Ball. If you're a dribble head, though, and you score most of your points with a guy like this, he, you know, it's fine if he's higher on your list. There's no doubt about that, but he's just going to absolutely get shredded. And then coming in at the number 65 spot, just simply because I don't think he's as good on the offensive end, but he's better on the defensive end, is going to be 100 overall Jalen Rose. No one really talks about this card. He's not going to be as good on the offensive end, like I just said, as LaMelo Ball, but he's going to be better on the defensive end. So I think that that is why he comes in at this spot, man. Just a better player build. He's an inch taller. That is why Jalen Rose comes in at the number 65 spot, man. More than solid card if you're running him at the point guard position. And then coming in at number 64, very similar card to Jalen Rose, is going to be 100 overall Dyson Daniels. I mean, very similar cards. There's really not much of a difference at all. They're going to be more than fine on the offensive end and be like really good defensive cards. So really not a whole lot to talk about there. Super similar cards. Now the next two are probably, both of these cards are going to get cooked on the defensive end, but they are probably the two best dribble head cards in the entire game as far as with people that can dribble really well and can create with cards. And the first option out of the two that we're going to talk about is 100 overall Cazzie Russell. Now this card in the right hands, man, is the best card in the game. There's no question about that. There's people that can drop a bucket every time down the floor with this card because of his release, because of his dribble sigs and everything. Some people in the right hands, I mean, can just absolutely cook with this card. So that's why he's this high on the list, man. He'd be much lower if that wasn't the case, because he can be a liability on the defensive end at 6'5" with, not the best player build in the world. But as far as a 3 hunting card, I don't know if it gets much better than Cassie Russell. And now we're about to talk about another card that just gets absolutely overrated the heck out of. And I grouped them both together. I grouped both Invincible and GOAT Luka Doncic right together, man, because I think that, they have a little bit different animations and everything, but they serve the same purpose. Luka Doncic is a 3 hunting card. Possibly the best 3 hunting card in the game, sure, but he's going to get cooked on the defensive end. I don't understand why this card gets hyped up so much. There are way better options at the point guard position that can give you maybe not quite what Luka gives you on the offensive end, but then be able to defend at an elite level as well. So I just think that this card gets overhyped a little bit. But again, if you're a dribble head and you can drop a bucket every time down the floor with him, I can't fault you for having him higher. But this is my list, and I think he belongs at the 62 spot. Now, coming in at the number 61 spot, kind of an interesting card. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit here. We have 100 overall Ivica Zubac. Now, there's a couple other bigs that we're going to talk about too, where I think that he is just kind of a budget version of the GOAT Shaq. He's 7 feet tall. He's not going to have quite as good of a player build, but he's also going to be a really good rim running big and a decent release on Zubac as well. Like if you're running this card at your power forward, man, or running this card in park, I think that you could be doing a whole lot worse for yourself, because this card is pretty good and pretty underrated as well, man. That is 100 overall Ivica Zubac, who comes in at the number 61 spot. Now at the number 60 spot, kind of another little bit of a dribble head card here, but I think that he is better on the defensive end than the cards that we have talked about so far. That is Terrence Ross. This is another card, man. In the right hands, people can just absolutely cook with this card. Now, the reason he is 2 spots higher, if he could play the point guard position, he'd be much higher. Keep that in mind. But he kind of, when you compare him to Luka and Cassie, he cannot play the point guard position, but he is significantly better on the defensive end. So I think that they need to be ranked right around each other. But I think the fact that he is better on the defensive end, he gives him a slight edge over a card like Luka. But yeah, in the right hands, this card is one of the best offensive cards in the game because of his dribble sigs, and he's got a really good kind of like high release point. People can just absolutely cook with this card, man. Now coming in at number 59, we have a card that is very good on the offensive end and on the defensive end, man. We got 100 overall George Gervin. This card, he's not, going to be insane dribbling wise. He's not going to be able to absolutely torch you like Terrence Ross, but he's going to give you much more on the defensive end, man. And he can cook on the offensive end. I don't know what I'm talking about, but he's just not going to be an absolute cheeseball dribble head card. But this card's got a fine release. He's going to be able to rim run well. He's got good height at that point guard position. This card is more than solid. If you're running him at the point guard, you could be doing a whole lot worse, man. That is 100 overall George Gervin. He is in at the number 59 spot. Coming in at the number 58 spot, a little bit of an overrated card, if I do say so myself, that is Amen Thompson. Now, do I think that he is better than Draymond Green? Yes, but there is another card coming up that people like to rank. People like to rank Amen Thompson, ahead of one of the cards that I have coming up on the list. I don't think he's better than that card, and we'll talk about that card in a little bit. But anyway, Amen Thompson got a good release. I'm just not a fan of this card's player build. Yes, he's 6'7", but he's super skinny and he plays smaller than 6'7". He seems so small on the court for 6'7". I don't know what it is. Now, this card's going to be able to hold it down on the defensive end. Sure, he's got a good wingspan and everything, and he's going to be able to create really well on the offensive end. But I am just not a fan of this card's player build. So that's why he is as low as he is. But on paper, man, this is a perfect card. Invincible Amen Thompson. If you're running him at the point guard and you're cooking with him, man, keep doing your thing because he's a good card. And then in at the number 57 spot, we have 100 overall Jarrett Allen. This is another card. I think he's kind of a little bit of a budget version of Shaq, man. He's going to be able to rim run the ball really well. He's got a pretty good release. Actually, probably a better release than Shaq, but not quite as good of a player build because he's only 6'9". He does play play bigger than 6'9" though because of that big old afro and everything. But this card can cook a little bit. He can cook a little bit, you know, with the ball in his hands. He's shorter than Shaq, which gives him a little bit of disadvantage, but he can rim run, you know, really, really well. And he's going to be able to hold down the defensive end a little bit too, man. So I think that this card, if you're running him, power forward position, yes, 6'9" would say that he's too small, but I think that you're still all right because he seems like he's taller than 6'9" when he is out on the court, man. And that card in a park setting, don't get it twisted, he can absolutely cook. So that is 100 overall Jared Allen. I'm in at the number 57 spot. Coming in at the number 56 spot, card that came out the same day as that Dikembe, but he is just simply 2 inches taller. That's why he's a little bit higher. That's going to be Dark Matter Mark Eaton, man. Now this card, the base card, is not runnable right now. But if you badge him up, get a shoe on him, you have a coach for his speed and everything, this can still be one of the best bigs in the game just because of the simple fact that he is 7'4" and he has just a massive player build. I mean, he's a giant. Outdated card as far as badges and attributes go, but if you have this card badged up and have a shoe on him and have a good coach, then you are set, man. Like maybe even just this one with 18 legend badges, 100K, you might be thinking that's a lot, but if he has the right badges and everything, if that's the right shoe that is on him, he can be, you know, an absolute beast on the court. Dark Matter Mark Eaton. So needs to be badged, needs a little bit of special treatment, but if you give him that special treatment, he's going to be really, really good for you. Now, this is the first GOAT card on the list. Disclaimer, GOAT Steph Curry and GOAT Oscar Robertson did not make the list. But to me, this card right here, GOAT Penny Hardaway, the best budget point guard in the entire game. He plays very similarly to a couple cards that we have coming up a couple spots ahead. This card's going to be really good rim running. He's got a little bit of a skinny player build and plays maybe just a slight bit smaller than 6'7", but he's got a good release. He is really good as far as rim running goes. He's got a good wingspan. There's really not anything wrong with this card. And yes, I am taking this card over Invincible Ammon Thompson. I just am because I like his player build slightly more. And they're very similar as well, but I like Penny Hardaway, man. I think he is the best budget point guard in the entire game at 10K MT, best value point guard. And I think that the number 55 spot is very, very appropriate for him. And coming in at the number 54 spot, we have Invincible Kawhi Leonard. This is a card where the GOAT card is significantly better than the Invincible card. His release just really isn't all that, man. He's going to be good on the defensive end, but he's just not going to be as good creating as the GOAT card is going to be. Not going to be as good with the ball in his hands. Catch and shoot still going to be fine, but leaves a little bit to be desired on the offensive end. Still going to hold it down on the defensive end. Still an absolutely amazing card. But if you have the MT, you're wanting to use Kawhi, I would probably try and upgrade from the Invincible to the GOAT card because it is a pretty big upgrade. So some of the cards on this list, you know, the GOAT and Invincible are getting ranked together because there's just not enough of a difference. But there is a big difference between Invincible and GOAT Kawhi. So that's why he comes in at number 54. At number 53, we have a little bit of an interesting card. A card that is way too undersized for the power forward or center position. This card would be so much better if he could play the small forward at 6'10". But the thing is, man, this Dwight Howard Invincible is super, super good in a park setting. He's got really good animations. He's got a good release. He's going to be able to absolutely hold it down in a park setting. So I think that this is the appropriate spot for him. He is too short for the power forward or center position, but he does have a very big player build. I mean, he's a big man out there. So keep that in mind. I think Invincible Dwight Howard, he gets a little bit underrated sometimes. I think especially in a park setting, as I said, he is a very underrated card. Now, I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not, but in at the number 52 spot, this to me is one of the most underrated cards in the entire game. And that is 100 overall Anton Jameson. This card is another card that if you know how to dribble the ball really well, if you know how to create, this card is so good, man. People can just absolutely cook with this card in a park setting and in a 5-on-5 setting. The dribble sticks that this card has got an insanely good release. He is probably just an upgrade over Vlad again with, you know, going to give you that insane 3 hunting, but just a much better player build, so he's going to be able to hold it down better on the defensive end. This card never gets talked about. I truthfully don't know why not. Am I gassing him a little bit, putting him here at, what is he at, 52, I believe. Maybe, but I just don't think this card gets enough credit. So I had to put him in at the number 52 spot. I think he's a super underrated card. And coming in at the number 51 spot, we have 100 overall Thurl Bailey. Another pretty underrated card, man. He's going to give you a cheesy player build, just an extra long wingspan, and 6'11" at the small forward position. His release is a little bit interesting. You're going to have to use him a little bit and get used to it and everything. But as far as defensively, man, this is one of the best defensive small forwards in the entire game. And he can get a little cheesy with the ball in his hands. There's no doubt about that, too. He's going to be a good rim running card. Very interesting card here, but if you have not tried out 100 overall Thurl Bailey, I would definitely give it a shot because this is one of the most underrated cards in the entire game. No doubt about that. And coming in at number 50, I think a slight upgrade offensively over Thurl Bailey, but maybe a little bit not quite as good on the defensive end. We have Invincible Chris Webber. As I said, I think that he's going to be a little bit better on the offensive end compared to Thurl Bailey. A little bit not quite as good on the defensive end. So I think that he, belongs in this spot right here. At the number, is this the 50 spot? Are we halfway through? It is the 50 spot. Halfway through this list, we got Invincible Chris Webber, man. If you're still running this card, there's nothing wrong with this card. This card can absolutely still hoop at the small forward position and in a park setting. So, yeah, Invincible Chris Webber, really nothing wrong with the card at all. And coming in at number 49, this is the card that I was kind of talking about earlier. I've been referring to him a little bit. We have Invincible Scotty Barnes. People like to hate on his release. It's got a little bit of a hitch in it, but what I will tell you, this release is almost uncontestable. If you can get used to it, this release is so hard to contest. Yes, it's not the smoothest in the world. There's a little bit of a hitch in it, but I'm taking this card over Amon Thompson every single day of the week because I think he's going to be better on the defensive end. He's got a bigger player build, and his release, yes, it's not the smoothest in the world. Like I said, he's got a hitch in it, but he has got something going with the contest system as well. Not quite at Wemby level with the contest system, but people can be right in his face, and the green window will still be the same. I don't know what it is with this card. I think a lot of people maybe just haven't used him enough, so they don't rank him this high, but this Invincible Scotty Barnes is kind of a little bit of a cheese ball, man. If you haven't tried him out, I would definitely try him out at the point guard position. I think he's better than Draymond Green. I think he's better than Amon Thompson. Kind of similar cards, those three that kind of serve a similar role, but I think that Scotty Barnes is probably the best in that role. That's why he is in at the number 49 spot. One of the best value point guards, again, in the entire game. I mean, if you got Invincible Scotty Barnes and go Penny Hardaway as your point guards, you could be doing a heck of a lot worse. That is what I will tell you. Now, Kevin McHale comes in at the number 48 spot. A little bit of a underwhelming card. I thought before I got this card, when I did get him, he was going to be one of the best cards in the game. He's not really that. His release leaves a little bit to be desired. But other than that, this card pretty much gives you everything at an elite level. I mean, he would be undersized if he was only power forward center, but he's fine at the small forward position. He has pretty good dribble sigs. He can create pretty well. Again, release just leaves a little bit to be desired. That's really the only flaw that I see with this card, though, because he's got a good wingspan. He's going to be good on the defensive end. I think that the number 48 spot is perfect for Kevin McHale. And coming in at the number 47 spot, we have Goat Vince Carter. Now, Goat Vince Carter is a pretty similar card, actually, to Penny Hardaway, honestly. But I think that he gives you just a slightly better release. He's going to be a little bit, even cheesier on the offensive end. So that is why I think he belongs above Go Penny Hardaway. But I think that those cards are kind of there's a little bit of preference going on for sure. If you prefer Go Penny Hardaway over Go Vince Carter, I'm not going to, tell you that you're wrong. Because I think Go Penny Hardaway might even be slightly better on the defensive end. But I think Go Vince Carter's better on the offensive end. So there's some preference there, man. But I think Go Vince, you can absolutely hoop with him. I've been absolutely cooked by this card, man. So you can't go wrong with Go Vince Carter. He's a super good card on the offensive end. And now coming in at number 46, we have Invincible Chris Bosh, who I think is just a slight upgrade over Kevin McHale. He's got better dribble sigs he's actually kind of more comparable to Shawn Kemp. He's like a Shawn Kemp with way better dribble sigs and a better release. Maybe not quite as good rim running as Shawn Kemp, but yeah, I think 46 is appropriate for Chris Bosh. He's going to be able to dribble the heck out of that ball, man. He's got a pretty good catch and shoot release. Got a good wingspan and everything, so he's going to be really good on the defensive end at the small forward position. There's really not anything wrong with this card. And I think that this, like I said, is an appropriate spot for Invincible Chris Bosh at the number 46 spot, man. So that is where we got him. And at number 45, we have 100 overall Kevin Durant. This card, it's a little bit of a slow release at this point in the year, but he is an absolute... Okay, I just got the notification. We are about to run out of recording time on this take, man. So we will be right back.